Well, welcome to another episode of Saline County Speaks. We are here to talk to Shelli Poole about this little overnight success that she calls mysaline.com. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit, Shelli, and just kind of find out what this journey has been for you and what being in Saline County means. And I've just got a whole bunch of questions, but did you have anything you wanted to say right out of the gate?
Well, I'm going to ask you to leave my house for calling it little and and overnight.
So you're saying it took more than just overnight to build this?
I mean, just a couple more days. How many days are in a year?
Yeah.
15 of those.
Okay.
Actually, a little more because it was something else before that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about how this idea evolved, and I'll set it up this way. You're in a comfortable job with benefits and a 401k plan, and working 40 hours a week,
Yep.
and there's security, and at some point there was a transition where you said, you know, I'm going to leave all that behind, and I'm going to jump out, and I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to bet on myself.
Yeah, and some would call that really stupid.
That's one of my questions, which is were there well-meaning people who said you're crazy? You know?
Yeah, actually. So when I started my Saline, I was married at the time.
Okay.
And I did want to go full time with it, and my husband was like, "That's not a good idea. Number one, you're going to run out of news in Saline County. There's not enough news for you to continue to do this on a regular basis."
Okay.
Which we know to not be true.
I can see where that opinion would come from, but knowing what we know now.
Yeah. Every time you know a little more, there's way more out there. It's just like a family tree of, politics, crime, events, every facet of news.
Just
once you know a little more,
keep unpeeling that onion.
Going.
Yeah.
So So at first I was like, but I'm pretty sure there's more than just what I've reported so far. It's not going to run out. Every time there's an election cycle, there's more. There's different relationships that cause things to either fracture or build the community. And there's always something else.
Right.
So anyway, I'm at my comfortable job, and I used to work for RDOT. I worked there for 10 years, and as a graphic designer, and people say, "So you did those big old green signs with letters on them?" No, I don't.
Not that kind of graphic
I didn't
design.
do that. I can appreciate what they do, of course.
Of course.
But I did the layout for the magazine that some people still get in Arkansas. I think they still publish it on paper, but they have it online too. And then there was a sort of a employee newsletter that comes out once a month. And it just says, so and so's having a birthday or an employment anniversary, or here's the deer that they killed.
Right.
Just keeping up with news with your fellow staff members.
But that involves marketing. There seems
it
like
does.
there's a Venn diagram where the My Saline meets with that, right?
It absolutely does. And everything that My Saline does, I've done in the past in a different career. So I used to work on the radio as a DJ, and I worked for Kissin' for 4 years and a couple other stations. And I worked for, let me think how many TV stations. 1, 2, 3, I think three different TV stations.
Okay.
And did different things either in news or I also produced television commercials. And from the beginning to the end, like just meeting with the client saying, "What do you want?" and then filming it, editing, giving them the product. They're like, "This is terrible. Do it all over again." And so that was a lot of fun. And then I worked for a city. We moved to the Dallas area, and I was a TV producer there. And it was kind of fun because it was for a city, and we got to go to the different city agencies and kind of check in on them, and film the dogs that were available for adoption. That was the cutest part of the job. Something that I really wasn't that interested in when they told me it was part of the job is to sit behind the camera while they were having city council meetings. and while they were having school board meetings. And I thought,
not as exciting
this
as
is
parading
good.
puppies around
Yeah,
a parking
I'd
lot,
much
right?
rather play with puppies. But I was like, okay, it's part of my job. I got to do it. And it made me a captive audience to this. You know, whatever was going to happen, I had to watch it because I'm sitting there, you know, flipping from this camera to that camera and zooming in on the guy that's talking. Well, you know, and we've talked about this personally before, Alan.
Sure.
I learned a lot because number one, nobody showed up to the meetings, and this'll you know sound familiar to a lot of people that are in politics here in the county. No one shows up to the meetings, and then something happens, and they find out it already happened, and then they complain.
But there was nobody at the meetings to object
No
to it
one's
while
there
the
to-
decision was
yeah,
being made.
Yeah. So and there's obviously there's a lot more transparency now that the internet has gotten, you know, operated. And you know, more people know when the meeting is, so they have less excuse.
But they still find reasons to not be at the meeting where
They-
things happen
yeah.
that will impact their
because,
lives.
Because it's boring, but it's your life. As soon as you own property or you have children or you have a car, you start to be interested in these things because you pay taxes on them. It affects your lifestyle. When you're a kid or when you're, you know, a lot of times when you're renting, you don't really care because things don't affect you that much. If you knew that you could go to a meeting and change the way that the construction is going on the interstate, you'd probably go to that meeting, learn how important it is that they're making all these decisions that we just don't know.
And that, I'm assuming, made you more civic minded.
It did. It helped me to just, I don't know, level up or whatever. Just achieve that next goal of, it wasn't my goal. Whose goal was it? I don't know. But it just got me to that next point in my life where I'm like, okay, this is important to me now. So, and that's when, you know, I got here, that the internet is still kind of a baby. I'm looking online to find out things about where I live. And I really didn't find much. And the things that you found weren't updated very frequently. And I actually joined a Yahoo group. I don't know if you remember those. But it's, so you email, I think you email in your topic and then someone answers and it emails back and then it's like an email back and forth. And
Right.
So that's how I was getting news of what's going on around town.
Well, and you told me before that that's how my Saline got its name, was patterned after
MySpace.
MySpace,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and on your computer at the time, I guess it was Windows 95 maybe, everything on there was named either my computer, my videos, my pictures, my documents.
Similar to what I would be
folders.
now. You
So
know.
yeah. So and lots of businesses not even related to computers will put an I in front of their in front of a word, and then that's the name of their business.
Right.
So
Draws
yeah,
attention.
that's MySpace. Everything is my something, so it's my Saline.
Well, you've got this idea, and you're working at the road department,
Yep.
and you've decided you're going to make a go of this. You've seen enough in TV news to see the news get monetized, but
Right.
how did you figure, you know what, I think I can fill a void that obviously you're not finding the news that you need as a new/old Saline County resident. You return to Saline County, you've got questions, you're looking on the internet, you can't find the answers to these questions. So you can tell there's a void in the marketplace, and you know you can fill that void. How you gonna make money doing
Yeah,
that? How do
good
you
question.
monetize that?
Good question. And I thought about money laundering, but I thought maybe something legal this time.
There are rules. There are rules.
Yeah, so I knew that people were making money, and I actually when I first started, it was just a blog about Benton, and it ramped up when there was a guy in Bryant who went on American Idol. His name's Sean Michelle. He actually played over here at Valhalla recently, and he's still touring around the globe actually. So I thought, well, my blog's just about Benton, and this guy's in Bryant. I can't not write about this guy because I like American Idol was new and it was my favorite thing, and so I thought I got to write about this guy.
And it was a big deal.
It was, and he didn't go on to be one of the finalists, but for Bryant, huge deal, and he made a splash. So I thought I've got to write about this, and so the next thing I thought is I want to continue to write about things that are not just in Benton but also in Bryant and around the county. But how do I do that? Because at the time, the name of the blog was Bent on Benton, so it just spells Benton.
Right.
But
right.
But it was so Bent on Benton, and I should have brought the T-shirt out here to show you. But yeah, I thought I've got to change the name if I'm going to do all these other things.
Right.
And I just came upon a platform that helped me to do that and to change. It was kind of a social network all by itself, similar to Facebook. I don't think Facebook was, like, a lot of people didn't know what it was, even if it wasn't.
What year would this have been, Shelli?
This was about 2005.
2005.
So I think Facebook was a thing, but it was like still very small.
I'm not sure. Somebody fact check me, but I think Facebook kind of became a thing in 2007 or 8.
I think that's when it went to the public. Like,
Okay,
it was
but
at
it
a
was
college.
okay,
before that.
right, okay.
So, so yeah, I decided I'm gonna make this a little bigger, and I happened on the name My Saline.
Right.
And that was in 2007 that I started that. The very next year, 2008, was a political year. And I had been around town and questioning people, and people were starting to figure out who I was. And I had probably a grand total of 300 followers at the time. But
a few more than that now.
But Facebook being a baby,
yeah,
and not a lot of other options, that was kind of a big deal. Not everybody was online. Smartphones weren't a big deal at the time. So people pretty much got online after they got home from work. And so 300 followers was pretty good for a year's work. And they were influencers. There were some candidates for that year's race. And somebody got the idea, I think I would like to put an advertisement on your website. And then, there was an electrician that put an ad on, and I thought, oh, I can make money from this. And I'd always wondered how people make money from this.
Right.
And here it's coming in. And really it's a tale as old as time. Media has advertisers, and that's pretty much the bulk of their money.
So regardless of the fact that it's a new medium and, kind of a more fresh, immediate kind of media, the old model still stands. Yeah,
it does, because everybody's doing the same thing. They're wearing new shoes, Okay. So it's just a new way to get that message out.
Did you have a roadmap for this? Does this exist in other counties or other areas? Or
not that I was aware of.
Okay.
It was just something that I was compelled to do for whatever reason.
Was there something about Saline County that made you think this could work here? Or were you just throwing it up against the wall and see if it sticks?
Man, I just had no idea what I was doing. I was just having fun.
So was there a particular moment, or was it more gradual when you realized that you were going to take this thing that had up until a time been a labor of love and a hobby, and you said, okay, this is really, I'm committing to this. This is going somewhere.
Well, okay. People around me, other media companies, started to notice. And if I had a story, well, they might pick up on that story, and they might even interview me about what was going on.
Which is exciting.
Because I'd already been in the middle of the story and working on it, and so, and they didn't really consider me competition. The TV stations in Little Rock, they don't consider me competition.
Right.
I'm kind of like a news partner to a lot of them. So I don't know. I think probably about 4 years in, maybe, I started to think this could really be something, and the membership was growing exponentially, and I'm trying to remember the platform that I was on before for the website. It had a membership, and so you had to be a member to comment, or people could post their own things. It really was similar to Facebook. Sort of where it started. I'm like, I've got all these people that can, that I can talk to just like that. And today with Facebook, it's super easy to do that.
Sure.
It wasn't that easy then. So even on MySpace with all the flashy, sparkly pictures and everything.
I remember creating my MySpace.
And you got to pick your song.
Right.
You got to pick your top 10 friends.
Sure. And there's always a competition. Well, now you've got, I was going to ask you how many followers you had, but that's a difficult question because you're on so many different platforms.
It is difficult to say because a lot of people will, they'll follow, but they don't. And it's weird on Facebook even. You can be a member or you can follow. I can tell you that the views just on Facebook alone are about 250,000 a month, and then on the website it's about 250,000 a month. On the other ones, it's kind of harder to tell what the views are overall, but it's a lot.
Shelli Poole, Media Empire.
It's nowhere near the TV stations.
Right.
But it's in Saline County, it's the most.
Well, and I have a question about that because you had posted, and I actually, I'm going to read it because it's better if I read it. Where are we here? There will always be difficult people, but that means I have built something that people care about. And daily, all of those people are 99% good, grateful, pleasant, funny, intelligent hearts. And for that, I am grateful. I thought that was an impactful statement, and I just wanted you to comment on that.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there that'll hide behind a keyboard with malice and throw lob insults and things at my Saline lady.
For sure. I wish that I could ignore a lot of that. And I get, just like other people, you get caught in a trap, and you're like, well, he just said something that's not factual, and I need to correct him on that. Because people are going to think that's the truth if I don't respond. So I respond, and then the person responds back with more just...
Or 5 people respond back.
Yeah, either yucky stuff or just more things that are not correct. Whether it's, who fills the potholes, why you can't use a parks grant to fill those potholes. Well, they got the money to do this, why can't they do this? And so that every day, this happens. So I'm not saying that everybody is like that, but if you get a bunch of people to say, "Oh my gosh, you look great today," and then one person says, "You look like a stupid little girl," you're gonna remember that person who said bad things to you, regardless of what it is.
And if that person doesn't have to come up to you and say that, if they can hide behind a pseudonym, a screen name, and lob something out at you to where they can be Twitter brave behind a keyboard,
right?
It makes it a lot easier for them to say,
"Yeah, it is
Shelli
easy.
Poole's just a..."
And they do occasionally. They say, "Well, I don't think of you as a journalist."
Oh, you're not a real journalist. Well, you've just got this little website.
You don't want to know what I think about you. So I want to remember that I need to be grateful. Not everybody gets to have this job. I was just in a situation where I was able to do it. Something was pulling me. I don't know why, but like I said, all my life, all these things that I've done, I needed those experiences in order to get to where I am. And that job in Dallas was pivotal. Those meetings that I did not want to attend, but I was paid to attend.
Right.
Maybe we should pay people to attend. Yeah. You can't do that.
Do that. But that gave you a window into something that happens not just in this community, but in all communities.
Right. Absolutely. It doesn't matter what you do. There's going to be people out there who are going to make your life hard. But it's like you said, and I guess I said, it's all those other people. You have to remember, people see you in public and they go, I saw your article about such and such the other day. Thanks so much for explaining that. And you're like, oh, wow. So somebody actually did like it. Okay. And you don't always know because they don't comment. They don't, even like it. They just read it and then they move on with their life. And there's a lot of people like that. So it's hard to tell, kind of who specifically saw it unless they say something to you.
And it's a small percentage of the people who are going to create a large percentage of the problems and negativity, really.
It is, and they're the loudest, of course.
Of course.
If you've got a kindergarten class, there's always going to be some good kids and some that just go crazy.
And the crazy ones demand more attention.
They do.
Just do. The quiet ones are just quiet.
And then all the rest of them are like, what's he going to do next?
Well, now you're on so many different platforms and you're posting so many times per day, different posts and things. How do you keep it from being all-consuming, overwhelming, or do you?
No, it's all-consuming.
It is, okay.
It's all-consuming. I feel like it's important, and people tell me that it's important. And I feel like if I stop doing it for 1 week, people would be really mad at me.
There's pressure in that.
If I win the lottery and I just leave town, people are going to be happy for me and also really mad.
Right.
But I don't mean to say that I'm indispensable, but I've created that relationship with the community, and that's why people think I'm from here.
Right. Well, you've done something that few people manage to be able to do, is that you've found a void in the marketplace, you've filled that void, and more important, you've been able to take it to a level where you can monetize that to be able to continue to do it.
Right. And
that's laudable. It really is. I mean, if you think about where you came from, and to be able to build something that is the go-to. When I was headed home, I live in Hot Springs. When I was headed home the other day, how long ago was it that auto accident was on Highway 70, and the med flight, the med flight came in, and the helicopter lands right in front of me. I'm like, I gotta take a picture of this and send it to Shelli.
Yeah.
And I did,
And thank goodness that's what the relationship building is for. Because obviously I want to know who people are and what they do, but people think about me when they see stuff like that. So I woke up one morning.
Thousands of little reporters all over Saline County.
And I love it because sometimes it's somebody that I've never met in person. But I woke up one morning and it was a Sunday morning early. I don't know, maybe about 8 o'clock, and I wasn't awake yet. My phone, I'm getting a text, and I'm like, nope, not getting that. I'm still sleeping. And then I get another text, and I'm like, what is wrong with people? It's Sunday. Then I get a phone call, and I'm like, so I pick up the phone. Shoe Carnival's on fire. And I can't remember what year this was, like 2013, 14, somewhere around there. Shoe Carnival is on fire. And then I look at the text and there's video already. And there's pictures, and here's what we think happened, and this, all these fire trucks, and here's all the agencies that I didn't even really have to go.
You didn't really have to get out of bed, actually.
People, and thank goodness for smartphones. People were already putting the story together for me. So I just downloaded the video, put it out there, and, then got ready for church and got in my car and actually drove by the scene, and I was like, it's like they got it under control. Drive to church. Well,
and you've already got your video and your pictures and your story half written, and at that point,
it does make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate people who send me stuff.
Okay.
So,
Well, usually at this point, I tell people how they can get a hold of you and the best ways to follow you. I think everybody pretty much knows. You're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on Facebook,
Yeah.
mysaline.com. MySaline, the group, is,
Yeah.
many, you got a lot of followers
so
there.
I can't remember how many are on the group, like 13,000 maybe, and then there's 30,000 on the Facebook page. And then, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn,
TikTok.
TikTok. Now I started out with a MySaline page for TikTok, and I thought, this is boring. I want to have the whole experience, and so I just put it on Arkansas Shelli. And you can still find me, because if you look for MySaline on that page, it says
Somehow it's
Arkansas
going to
Shelli.
find you. So, well, congratulations on what you've built. And I guess I should ask you, what do you think is next?
Well, Alan, see this picture?
I do. Is that next?
I really do hope that I can get it to a spot where I can have, sort of my own life. And as it grows and grows, we always say that we're gonna do this someday or that someday. And I do want it to get it to a situation where I can be the Colonel Sanders of this, and I can sort of like just be that picture, and people go, Shelli built this, but
the next thing will be building it to self-sufficiency, to
I
where it can operate without you having to get that phone call at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, I really don't want that. Or the one that's, even earlier or very late in the evening. It happens.
Yeah.
And if you're the shop owner and there's not people around, you have to do the shop owner things. But it's fine, because it's my passion. It's what I do. And someday.
But that looks like it would be fun too.
Yeah, you might find me there instead.
Well, I wish that for you. I do. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelli.